The Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers in Nigeria, as part of modalities to wrap up the celebration of its 30th anniversary, launched a book and documentary titled History of the Nigerian Capital Market. It was hosted at the event center of the Nigeria Exchange Limited, the launchpad of the capital market ecosystem. In his opening remarks, the president of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, Mr. Oluwole Adeosun, FCS, shared the purpose of the book launch and documentary.
The book has been written to serve two important purposes. First is to provide an authentic account of the evolution of the capital market from its humble beginnings to the massive well-created platform that it is today. The second and very important purpose is to serve as an academic test for students of economics, finance, and very especially the emerging program of securities and investments through capital market studies that is now gaining ground in the country with the commencement of first-degree programs in two universities currently, Mountain Top University and Nasarawa State University in 2020 and 2021 respectively, to further validate the need for deepening of capital market studies as a degree program across all universities in Nigeria. The National Universities Commission, NUC, last year included securities and investment studies in the newly approved BMAS. Our consistent advocacy as an institute in this regard has yielded visible results, and we are very glad for this landmark achievement for the upcoming generation of city gentlemen. For a non-stockbroker reading this book, you will be exposed to many of the hitherto closely guarded traditions, lingos, and procedures that shape the Nigerian capital market. You will understand the immense role that the Central Bank of Nigeria played in nurturing this market, the impact of the indigenization exercise of 1972 in batting a vibrant equities market in the country, the transformation within the Nigerian Exchange Group, NGX, which in a period of 63 years has taken on 3 different names, and the coming of multiple exchanges from the sole exchange we used to have. Perhaps prepare for a thrill when you read the story of the first Nigerian-owned securities dealing firm in the country from its very beginnings, and its founder, Otumba Michael Olashibomi Balogun, CON-FCS, and another when you read the story of the entrance of women into the professional community of securities dealers in Nigeria.
Professor Seth Akotson, an economist and director of the Entrepreneurship Research and Development Center, Kaduna State University, the reviewer, highlighted some of the key points that should be of interest to market stakeholders and the public.
There are 7 chapters in the book, and each chapter is loaded. In fact, one of the chapters has almost 150 pages. So you can see that the book is rich. In chapter 1, the book tried to look at the Nigerian capital market, the context of the market, the role that the market is playing, and the legal framework in the market. In chapter 2 of the book, you will see that they try to give some evolution of the Nigerian capital market, how the Nigerian capital market has evolved over the years, and they broke it into different segments, including the structural adjustment program, period. If you look at also chapter 3 of the book, you see that they look at the era of automation, when they call over, as we know in the banking industry, you call over, you shout, and then they bring some information to you. With the automation, we can operate online and or anywhere in the world. Then we go to chapter 4 of the book, which look at the batting of a world-class capital market from 2010 to date. In chapter 5, they try to look at investors' education financial literacy that is going on by the CIS across various universities. Chapter 6, look at policy issues that is affecting the capital market, particularly monetary and fiscal policy issues that impact on decision-making in the capital market. And the capital market, of course, is driven by government policy and all that. So that chapter 6 is rich in content in that. Chapter 7, which concludes the book, deals with the future of the Nigerian capital market, looking at the future trajectory. Where are we heading? And of course, if you don't know where you are coming from in terms of the history, you don't know where you are heading. And so look at the future. The future, of course, very bright, as we can see that the market is going to grow. Those who invested in the market maybe 10 years, 15 years ago, you know what impact it's making here. One of the content I've checked across the globe is a rider. For instance, if the book is History of Nigerian Capital Market, some have a rider. Issues, perspective, prospect, and all that. Maybe if we're looking at reviewing the future, we can add a rider. I want to believe that not only the courses that are run in the university in terms of capital market studies or security and investment studies or whatever name they call it, those in the various fields of social sciences and economists, even sociologists, and all that, we find this book very interesting because of content. And those who are even reading history, because virtually almost every course now has history. For instance, history is set. You see that in economics, we have what we call the history of economic thought. In geography, we have what we call the history of geographic thought. And also you have them in other fields, politics, political science, they have history of political thought. And so when you are looking at history, sometimes it's not that you feel of endeavor that you study. When you pick the history of the Nigerian capital market, it guides you in the pattern, structure, and write-up and content, the way they track it, the way they build it, the chapterization can also add value to whatever work we are doing, as capital market or whatever field we are studying. And given that, you will notice that the book is a bit voluminous. Part of the package in the study is to ensure that students, get that book and study it. And part of the questions that will be asking forward, the questions should also come from the book so that it will be a course itself in practitioners, for those who practice to become, stockbrokers.
The event highlight was the formal launching of the book by the chairman of the Nigeria Exchange Group, Alhaji Umaru Kwairanga. Mr. Jude Chiemeka, CEO of the Nigeria Exchange Limited, and Mr. Oluwole Adeosun speak on the book launch and documentary and the event's significance to market development.
I think it's a very good coffee table book that captures the history of the market, or beyond beyond that history, but also the innovation that have occurred in the market, transitioning from the open market outcry type of trading to electronic trading, and the key individuals as well that have made significant contribution to the development of the capital market. The NGS continues to be a bridge, really, in terms of capital formation, not just for the capital market, but also for the investors trying to grow their wealth. If you think about the average return in the last 5 years of the all-share index, about 20.37, which is very healthy, given the level of money market return that we have seen in the market. Then you also talk about the products that have occurred in the market, from a singular equities product. The SGS now offers a multi-asset exchange, offering fixed income products, exchange traded funds, as well as derivatives that we currently trade in the market. So from an evolution perspective, I think you can see the journey that the market has really grown, from the players, from the products, but more importantly, the technology that has driven this innovation. So today you have the OMS, you have the VPN that allows brokers to trade. You saw in the video where they were talking about the whole elongated process of consummating the transaction, but today it can be done seamlessly from the comfort of the homes of the brokers without even having to go to their offices. That just shows you the importance of technology in our market, and how the NGX has really invested heavily in this technology to continue to drive market efficiency, as well as acceptance across different categories of investors that patronize our market today. Traditionally, you have the international investors, you have the domestic investors, which comprises of the institutional investors and the retail. We have seen domestic participation increase in the markets. Last year, domestic participation was 90%, international participation was 10%. So it's a welcome development that we now have a book that encapsulates all the activities that have occurred in the market. And I think it's a good read for anybody who is watching the capital market.
This book is an authoritative source material about the development, the historical development of the capital market in Nigeria, and it's an authoritative source material for every stakeholder in the Nigerian financial system. It is a book that documented all of what happened from the very beginning, from 1961 to date, about the Nigerian capital market. There has been paucity of reference material about the history of the capital market. So that inspired the Institute, as part of its 30th anniversary celebration, to put this book together. And we had to put this together by consulting with the leading operators in the Nigerian capital market from the very beginning. We are fortunate that we still have a lot of them around, and we're able to get their narratives about how the market evolved from time to time. We were fortunate to have moved swiftly to be able to have the recordings of the likes of the late Baron of the market, the Grand Doyen, the person of the late Otumba Shubumi Balogun, having his account well documented just 3 months before his passage. If he had not moved in advance, then we would have lost that very important material from such a person. So we're able to have gotten that, and along with some other notable operators in the market from inception to date, and all of the accounts are there. We have the likes of Mr. Tolama Boluri, we have the likes of the Grand Doyen, current Doyen of the market, Alhaji Rashid Yusuf, and everything is documented. It's a rich source material for every stakeholder in the market, for academics, for students of finance, for anybody, researchers that are making, conducting research about the Nigerian capital market. There is a lot to read in the book, supported by the documentary that is being captured, that is which you can watch. That is the video documentary of the account as given by all of the major players. Very good book, and I recommend it for everyone that is interested in finance and the capital markets.
The decision to document, write, and publish a book on the history of the Nigerian capital market is a commendable effort from the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers. This captures the story of how the capital market has evolved in 6 decades as a catalyst for economic growth and development.